Hello and welcome to the 8-man hard mode Kephess The Undying boss fight guide. My name's Hayete, and today we'll be going over everything you need to know to successfully complete the 4th fight in the Terror from Beyond operation. For this encounter, we suggest you bring a standard composition of 2 tanks, 4 DPS, and 2 healers. Any class composition will be more than capable of beating this fight. So let's start off with the DPS requirements for this fight. One of the things we do in Phalanx Squad when testing enrage times is to allot a cutoff time at which we feel comfortable saying the fight either has no enrage, or the enrage time is far too long to be concerned with if all mechanics and strategies are followed properly. This fight is one of those fights. Kephess was tested to a cutoff of 10 minutes, so the following is a standard analysis based off of this baseline cutoff. So total HP accounts for all adds capable of spawning during the encounter. The adjusted DPS represents a reduction in the total DPS by 3,000 to account for a 1,500 baseline per tank DPS contribution. The per DPS figure here does not represent an accurate assessment of what you'll see in fight, as there is a mechanic that increases damage dealt by all raid members, which will be covered in detail during strategy explanation. So this means you should base your group's DPS around the per damage figure. These figures are again the low minimum required to beat the fight. Your own figures will be much higher than this. So let's move now to mechanics. There are a few mechanics that I'll be leaving out as we feel they do not warrant explanation due to their very low damage contribution to the fight. For those, however, who want to know what these are, or see them in parsing programs, the following we will not be covering: Wrist Laser, Power Punch, and Earthquake. Okay, on to notable mechanics. Number 1. Overcharge. This mechanic applies 2 debuffs to Kephess's current target, approximately every 15 seconds. The first debuff is ignored. This does exactly what you might expect. The player with this debuff will be completely ignored by Kephess. The second is Overcharge. This is a damage over time debuff which has no duration. Number 2. Hypergate Void. This is a huge blue circle placed around the middle of the room. When activated by Kephess, the circle will disappear and be replaced by a pooling lightning field. If any player not currently holding the Overcharge debuff moves into the blue circle, they will gain a debuff called Void Vulnerability. This will increase all damage taken from Hypergate Voids and last for 3 minutes. Number 3. Laser Blast. Laser Blast is a 9-second single target channeled attack directed at a random raid member approximately every 35 seconds. Number 4. Energy Distortions. These are adds that spawn approximately every 30 seconds, with the first spawning 20 seconds after the fight is initiated. These adds have a few different buffs and debuffs associated with them. The first is a stacking buff gained by the distortion called Volatile Energy. This simply increases the damage the distortion does over time. The second is Desynchronization. This is a stacking debuff placed on the player aggroed to the distortion. This reduces all damage by pulsating energy and increases the reduction per stack. The last is Pulsating Energy. This is a stacking debuff applied to the player aggroed to the distortion. This increases all damage taken by all other raid members. The amount of damage and the radius of that damage increases per stack gained. Number 5. Corrupted Nanites. This is a stacking debuff placed on a random raid member every 15 seconds. This debuff does damage over time and increases the damage dealt per stack. The debuff gains a new stack every 15 seconds and cannot be cleansed. Number 6. Radioactive Barrage. Radioactive Barrage will target a random raid member and then start to move towards the player. This leaves damage pools along the path it moves which do damage over time to anyone standing in them. Furthermore, if the barrage reaches the targeted player, they will take damage and be knocked back. This mechanic cycles approximately every 45 seconds. Number 7. Dread Bomb. This mechanic is denoted by the large red circle gained randomly by a raid member. Kephess will leap into the air and then drop onto the player holding the red circle for a large amount of damage. Any player caught inside the red circle will also receive this damage. This cycles on an approximate 15 second, 30 second, 15 second, 30 second rotation. Number 8. Fury of the Masters. This is a raid-wide damaging AoE that propagates every 1 second. This is additionally accompanied by orange circles placed randomly around the encounter. Players will receive high amounts of damage if standing in one of these placed circles. So those are the main mechanics you'll need to be aware of for this encounter. Let me now show you how to form all of that into a working strategy. As you initiate the fight, you'll want to use all class raid buffs, adrenals, and any other damage output aid available. Shortly after, the current tank targeted by Kephess will receive Overcharge, which will need to be run to the Hypergate Void Lightning Pool to clear the debuffs associated with Overcharge. Because of the ignored debuff, you'll need your other tank to taunt as this happens. 20 seconds after the fight was initiated, 2 energy distortion orbs will spawn at these approximate locations. After 3 seconds, if not engaged, the orbs will auto-aggro the player closest to them. The player picking up the energy distortion orb will need to prioritize its defeat as soon as possible, as the stacking raid-wide damage put out by it can become an issue to heal if too many stacks are gained. These orbs can only be damaged by the player it is targeted to. Because of this, you'll want to ensure DPS pick these up as soon as possible to avoid the energy distortion aggroing to a tank or a healer. If, however, this happens, you should let your raid group know and immediately start DPSing the orb. Approximately every 35 seconds, Kephess will plant his feet, randomly target a raid member, and prepare to channel Laser Blast. Laser Blast is used in conjunction with another mechanic, so before I elaborate on that, let me explain the setup. Prior to Laser Blast, Kephess will become tethered to a random energy pylon. The pylons in this encounter will always be along the outer edges of the left and right side of the encounter. Tanks will need to ensure they bring Kephess within 32 meters of the pylon he is tethered to. As Kephess plants his feet to channel Laser Blast, the player targeted should move and stand in front of the pylon Kephess is tethered to. Once the Laser Blast channel is complete, the pylon will break and knock Kephess down. When this happens, Kephess will be incapacitated for 5 seconds. During this time, all damage done to Kephess will be increased by approximately 180%. At either 50% or 3 minutes and 30 seconds, Kephess will leap into the air and place a large red circle in the middle of the field. This is the start of Phase 2. As Kephess lands, a ripple of pylons will emanate in 4 different directions. Do your best to avoid these. If, however, you're hit, you'll be knocked back and take some damage. During this phase, no energy distortion orbs will spawn. However, every 15 seconds a random player will gain corrupted nanites. To remove these, a player must move to an available pylon and right-click it. Upon doing so, the corrupted nanites debuff will be removed and the player will start a 5.4 second channel called Hypergate Tower Uplink. At the conclusion of this channel, the pylon will break. You'll want to bring Kephess within melee range of the pylon as it breaks. This will apply the 180% damage increase to all damage done to Kephess. During Phase 2, approximately every 15 seconds, Kephess will be leaping into the air in preparation for Dread Bomb. Make sure if you have this red circle, you move away from other raid members, so they do not take damage from him dropping on you. Approximately every 45 seconds, radioactive barrage will go out. You'll want to have the players selected move away from the group and stay mobile so they do not run the damage pulls through the raid group or get hit by the barrage themselves. You'll rinse and repeat these mechanics until 9%, at which time Kephess will enter his Soft Enrage. At this point, Kephess will plant his feet and start casting Fury of the Masters. So put all DPS on the boss and push him to dead. So here are a few tips to better help you during this fight. During Phase 1, Kephess must be within 32 meters of the pylon he's tethered to during Laser Blast for it to knock him down. Try to keep all players grouped around Kephess as much as possible. If Kephess is kept too far away and the player selected for Laser Blast is outside of 30 meters, Kephess will run to get within range of that player, potentially pulling himself beyond the effective 32-meter range. Staying grouped up around Kephess will alleviate this. During Laser Blast, the selected player will take a lot of damage, so use a defensive if available, and healers make sure to focus heal the selected player. When responding to nanites during Phase 2, wait for at least 2 people to gain them before having them channel on a pylon. You only get 4 pylons in the encounter, so using them wisely in this manner will help you considerably. Since Dread Bomb occurs approximately every 15 seconds, make sure to have players channel after he leaps and smashes. Furthermore, the player selected with the red circle should run towards the designated pylon prior to being dropped on. This will help move Kephess to the pylon faster than a tank moving him when he is on the ground. Dread Bomb does a huge amount of damage, so if you have this mechanic, use a defensive to help mitigate damage. Healers should be ready to heal the remainder of the damage received. As you push Kephess near 9%, try and use a pylon break to knock him down just prior to the push. If, for example, you use a pylon break when he is at 10%, you'll gain the 5-second 180% damage increase and will likely have him near dead by the time he stands up to start Soft Enrage. Doing this can help you stay out of the Soft Enrage phase as much as possible, which is what you want. As you enter sub 9% and Soft Enrage occurs, move all DPS and healers to Kephess and stack. Tanks should move out at least 15 meters from Kephess. This will push more orange circles out to the radius the tanks are on and keep a good amount of them off the rest of the group, which will help the healers during this phase. This, however, is not a 100% guarantee, so if a circle drops on the group stacked up, make sure to move out of it and then restack once it's gone. So that's the fight, guys. This all sounds like a lot, but the fight moves very, very quick. If you stay for the kill video coming up, you'll see we beat the fight in less than 3 minutes. So just play the mechanics properly, and you'll have Kephess dead in no time. So if this video helped you, please feel free to pay it forward and help us by dropping us a like and subscribing. If you have any questions, suggestions, tips and tricks, or think of something I may have missed, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. So until next time, take care and enjoy the fight.
Knock down. have no use for the tools that continue to work. Your purpose is fulfilled.